Having seen how we can use the V-Ray material to create both clear and frosted variants of a simple glass material, we want in this exercise to move our scene forward and take a look at how we would go about adding a bit of extra complexity to that glass shader by adding some coloration to it. One thing that we certainly won't want to do at this point though is reinvent the proverbial wheel by going and creating a new glass material from scratch. Indeed, why should we when we already have a perfectly good jumping off point in the glazing material that we created in the previous exercise? In the material list then, let's right click on the V-Ray glass entry and use the duplicate material command to create a copy of it. Let's straight away rename it by double clicking and calling it coloured_glass. And then finally, we can go ahead and apply the material to the butterfly geometry by double clicking to open up the group, using the Ctrl and A keys to select everything, and then using the right click and apply material to selection steps that we have used quite a number of times now. Again, given the makeup of the geometry that we have here, this may take a little while to complete. Now of course, if we took a render at this point, we would simply have a clear glass ornament, which is not what we are really after here. Instead, let's come to the refraction controls of the coloured glass material and make use of the somewhat misleadingly named fog options, these being fog colour, fog multiplier and fog bias. To actually create a coloured glass, all we need to do is use the fog colour swatch. Given that what I want here is a nice burnt orange type colour, let's set our H, S and V parameters to 40, 255 and 240 respectively. Click OK and then take a render. Sure enough, and with very little extra effort on our part at all, what we have now is a very nice coloured glass material. If we wanted to decrease colour saturation in order to make the glass appear a little more see-through, all we would need to do is lower the fog multiplier value. Let's set this at 0.5, save what we have to history, and then perform a region render. As you can see, when we make a comparison now, what we have is something that we are able to see through much more easily, having much less saturation in the glass colour. One really nice and physically accurate aspect of the material that we have created here is the fact that the fog clearly reacts differently according to the volume or thickness of the geometry to which the material has been applied, with the legs, wings and main body here all displaying very different levels of colour saturation, in line of course with the thickness or volume of the geometry. Indeed, besides being influenced by the fog multiplier value, this phenomenon can be further controlled by means of the fog bias parameter. If I for instance go ahead and set this to a value of 1, save what we have and take another region render, we can see that we have now given the central body of the butterfly even less colour saturation than was previously present. Not only then is a clear glass shader pretty easy to create when we make use of the V-Ray material, but even more complex options such as coloured glass with saturation variations based on geometry depth can be whipped up in a quick and easy manner.